Welcome to Big
of
B
all
Daily.
time.
Chris, did you ever play past the junior varsity level of basketball?
Well, I got asked to leave the varsity team. So, yes, I did play varsity basketball, but I got asked to leave.
And why did you get asked to leave?
Creative differences with the coach.
And what kind of creative differences?
He thought that I was probably a little bit better at football, and they were like, we don't want to risk you getting hurt and taking your time, so we need to get you out to run track and play football. So they said, probably the best thing for you.
DC ain't even make JVT. I love it.
I 100% did, and I was asked to leave. And, there's a lot of people out there that know why and that can stay. It's not something we need to dig up.
It was fighting was involved, if I'm not mistaken, correct? You beat somebody. Basically, you bullied somebody.
I was a lover, not a fighter, and I have the daughter to prove it, so
Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What is going on, everybody? What is happening? Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. What is going on? Welcome back to Big B Daily, man. We are live again today, as always, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time. What is going on, man? We got a good show today. Got a good platform. Got a good selection of topics that we are going to cover. It's Friday, so we're doing our NFL thing, our top 10 list on Friday. First, we're going to cover what Minnesota just smacked around the Nuggets last night, man. They smacked them around, so we're going to go over that. Then we're talking about Cailtin Clark, her early season struggles. I think it's fine that she's struggling. There's a lot of people on one side that said, see, I told you wasn't no good. A lot of people on the other side that said, well, she's playing against the greatest defenses in the league and all of that. I don't want to hear it. Diana Taurasi was right. I said it the other day. It's okay for her to struggle. It's okay for her to get her feet wet. None of that is a problem. None of it's a problem. And then the top 10 teams in NFL history, according to your boy Big B, we're going to get after it today, man. We're going to get after it. I appreciate all of y'all being here, man. Thank you. Let's dive into it. First off, everybody, again, as always, if you like what we're doing and you want to help support the show and you do like the show, remember there are a plethora of ways that you can do so. Click on the link in the bio. You know how to do it, whether it's a super chat, whether you want to do a gift, or if you want to do it the easiest and the most political, or let's just call it the best way for you, like, follow, subscribe. I would appreciate all. We thank everybody for being here. Let's get into the show, people. Let's get into it. So Minnesota smacked around the Nuggets last night. What was the score? It was 9. I think it was 9-4. And then all of a sudden, Minnesota absolutely exploded, and the basketball game was over. It was over. So it was brutal. It got blown out. It was 9-2. There you go, King. 9-2. And it was absolutely over. It was over. So it just, it looked like Denver used the game as a throwaway game, in my opinion. Once it started going sideways, it kind of looked like the effort just wasn't there. They weren't making any shots. It almost looked like they were playing a pickup game. Look, you score 70 points in an NBA game, your heart is not in it. I don't care what anybody says. 70 points in an NBA game, you're not playing. You're not playing. And Jamal Murray, what was he, 4 for 18, something stupid? They just weren't in it last night. They just weren't in it. Now, Minnesota had a lot to do with that. I don't want to take credit of where credit is due. I don't want to disrespect them and say they didn't have a lot to do with how Denver played, because I think they did. But it didn't look like Denver. Denver just kind of thought, you know what? We want to win, but we're going to go out here, and if they put a run on us, we're going back to Denver for Game 7. We'll just win it in Game 7. That's dangerous. That's dangerous, people. If I'm Denver fans, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because you got to remember there's been 3 games in Denver. Minnesota has won 2 of them. So you got to keep that in mind. There's been 3 games in Denver so far in this series. Minnesota has won 2 of them. Now, the shift of the series, things have changed. I understand all that, but those are still facts. I wouldn't just be so, well, it's game 7. We're back at home. We're just going to win. Hold on. Hold on. So my man King says that Edwards is going for 50 in game 7. And he pretty much came out and said that, didn't he? Like in the press conference, he came out and just said, I'm going to shoot every time I get the ball. Game 5, they took the ball out of my hand. I don't care what they do. I'm shooting this basketball. They were in attack mode from the very start, and it didn't look like Denver was wanting to put up too much resistance. So, it's going to be tough for the Nuggets. Look, they're the champs. They played great all year. The last 2 years, they played great. They're resilient. They know how to win. All I'm saying is they had an opportunity last night to close this out and put their foot on Minnesota's neck. And maybe Minnesota wins the game anyway, but it looked like, and I think a lot of you all will agree, it looked like once the game started going a certain way that Denver just let off the gas and just said, okay, you can have it. You can have it. Because it never got closer than 13 points. It never got closer than that. And then I thought right before the half, I'm thinking, okay, Denver's going to make a push. They're going to cut this lead down to 8, 9 points. Instead, they let Minnesota go on another run. It's 19 at the half, and the game was over. It was over. So, yeah, talking about Jokic can't do it all by himself. You're right. He can't. Didn't get a lot of help last night, did he? Didn't get a lot. I'm not saying that he played the greatest game, but he didn't get a lot of help last night. He did not, you know. And you know that he didn't because the man had 2 assists. And you know if Jokic only has 2 assists, because you know he's going to pass the ball, that guys were not shooting the basketball very well. Not to mention he didn't have a great shooting game either. You know, you look, what was he, 9 for 19? That's not horrible for most people. For him, that's not a good game. That shooting percentage is not a good game for him. So Denver just didn't play well. That's all. They just didn't play well. It looked like they kind of just said, it is what it is. It is what it is. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And it couldn't have been, I know what somebody's saying. You think it was more more than the off. It was the defense. It wasn't more than the defense. Minnesota scored 115 points. Denver scored 70. 70. So, no, it wasn't the defense more than the offense. I understand that Minnesota probably, if they left their starters in, they probably could have went for 130, 135. I get it. But Denver only scored 70. So the offense was more of a problem than the defense. 170 you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. I'm sorry. For an NBA, I mean, that was, what was that, like 90s basketball? When they ran the shot clock down on every possession, walked the ball up the court, every possession, constantly held and beat everybody up coming off of screens. We saw that in the finals game. I mean, I saw it was like a game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like the Bulls won 83-70. Well, okay, but that's not what this basketball is, man. That's not what this is. Yeah, there you go, King. That's late 80s basketball, man. And I'm not here for that. Although I loved the basketball back then, this is a better brand of basketball. I want to see you getting up and down the court. 70s, you're not going to win scoring 70 points. Period. 25 for 86 collectively as a team is horrible. So, yeah, that was bad. And y'all answer. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Did it look like Denver just said, we're going to pack up and go to game 7? Didn't it look like that? Because to me, it did. Now, I could be wrong. But all I know is it just looked like Denver just said, yeah, it's game set. We'll go home and win. We're not even going to give you any resistance. We're not going to try to score. We're just out there going through the It was almost like they used it as, and we're going to get up and get a sweat going and use it as an exercise session. So they gave up after the first quarter. It looked like it. It sure looked like it, didn't it? So, hey, just as a reminder, man, if you're on this platform that I'm looking at right now, I'm just a TikTok. If you're a TikTok, make sure that you click on the link in the bio because it's been freezing up on me. TikTok is after me for some reason. I'm not sure. They're doing this crazy buffering. So if you don't want to get frozen up, there's a live link in my bio. Click on that and come on over. You can click on that link and come on over to a site where you will not get frozen up on. So what's going on, Miller Time? What's going on? What's going on, Lily? Lily and Daddy. I'm not sure I can just continuously say that. You show up every day and I love you, but Lily and Daddy. Okay, we'll do it. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. So, my man Pat Cockrell says Minnesota to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know. I'm anxious for that game, though. I'll be honest. I'm ready for that game. I didn't know the NBA schedule. They pulled a fast one on me. I thought the Knicks and Pacers were going to be last night too, but I like how they did it. They spread it out. I know you're Joey, man. I'm just messing with you, my man Lee. I get it. But they spread it out. And the Knicks and the Pacers, we get that tonight. We get the Mavs and OKC on Saturday. And then we get the Thunder and the Nuggets on Sunday. I like how they did it. But that was a bloodbath last night. And Denver, hopefully they did just quit. Hopefully they weren't putting in full effort and this is all you got. Because if it is, it's a problem. But you know who's really been the problem in this series for Denver? And not enough people are talking about it. Michael Porter Jr. I think all of that off the field stuff or off the court stuff with his family, his brothers, I think it's starting to catch up to him. I think the one brother, going to jail, literally to prison, that was terrible. He had to try to testify on his behalf. Then he had another brother that threw his entire career away, gambling. Let's just say $215,000 is what he was going to make on his contract. He gave that all up for $29 or $29,000. He gave his entire basketball career away. And I don't mean playing career. He can't play. He's never going to be hired as a coach. His entire career is done. And then a week later, his other brother gets arrested for DUI. I'm like, what the hell is going on in that family? So I think Michael Porter Jr., I think it's starting to catch up to him because he's played lousy. And another thing, and this is brought up to my attention, and I mentioned this before the show, more Naz Reid, less Rudy Gobert, a.k.a. Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. The Minnesota looked better when Naz Reid was out there and when Cat was guarding Jokic, they looked better. That was the adjustment that Minnesota made. They looked better. When they finally told Cat, hey, Cat, you got to be a man, okay? We'll take anything you can give us on the offensive end, but you need to give us more on the defensive end. You got to get physical because Rudy can't do it. He said Rudy needs to give his Defensive Player of the Year award back. I don't know if he needs to do that, but all I know is it hadn't looked good. It hasn't looked good when you're getting cooked. But here's the thing, though, people. Isn't that what we want? Don't we want offensive players to be dominant? It is the NBA. Nobody shuts anybody down. You can make it difficult for guys, but nobody's shutting anybody down. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. But hopefully they didn't just that they actually gave up. Hopefully that's the reason that they just gave up. And that they just didn't care when the game got out of hand, they didn't try to fight back. I think that might be the key. So we'll see. We will see. Let's move on, though. Let's move on. As I talked about earlier, Big B Daily, 9 a.m. Central Time. If you're on a certain platform, please remember a lot of people are clicking likes. There's still not a lot of people in here. They're messing with me. It is what it is, man. What do you want me to do? Bottom line, continue to do it. Thank you for the support. However, if you don't want to get frozen up on, click on the link in my bio. There is a live link that you can come right over. You can still watch it all on your phone. Don't have to turn to a computer or a laptop. You can do it all on your phone, and you can still watch us live. You just won't get frozen up on. So make sure that you do that, because any minute now, that's going to go run down on us. So we appreciate you guys doing that. Having said that, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Cailtin Clark. So Cailtin Clark, again, last night. Well, let me say this. Let me backtrack. Let me just start by saying this. I think that Cailtin Clark is going to be great. Now look at him. That's entering Valhalla Golf. I think Cailtin Clark is going to be great. I really do. I know there's a lot of people out there that think she's not going to be that good. I think she is going to be that good. But I also agreed 100% with what Diana Taurasi said, and that reality is coming, and that you are going to have to go through the struggles of figuring out how it is to play against professional grown women. I mean, every rookie in every sport goes through the struggle. So why people didn't believe that she was going to have to go through that, I don't understand it. I mean, the greatest players of all time in every sport had rookie moments. Everybody. So, and just, that's my whole thing. People, oh, she's the GOAT. No, she was never the GOAT. I don't even think she can ever be the GOAT, but I do think she can be great. I absolutely do. Now, there's going to be people that take that out of context and say, oh, you don't think she's going to be any good. I didn't say that. Just because somebody isn't the greatest of all time doesn't mean you're not great. Lord have mercy. Relax. But then the other argument comes, well, you're watching the game, so mission accomplished. No, the mission is not accomplished. And I bet you if you asked her, she would tell you the mission is not accomplished. Do they love all the attention? Of course they do. Of course they want more people to watch. But they also want to be able to say, hey, I'm good. So that's the thing. She's just got to start playing better. Got to figure. Now, she's playing against some pretty good teams. Connecticut is good. We know that Liberty are really good. And they got smacked around last night. But she didn't play good. You know, that's the thing. She didn't play good. Didn't have as many turnovers. Only had 3, but she had 9 points. You know, all that, those points that she got the other day after the game was decided, that was everybody's claim to fame. Well, she scored 20. Well, hell, you got 13 of them when you were down 20 points. Nobody cares. Last night, that didn't even happen. So I think Cailtin Clark is going to be fine. I really do. But there is an adjustment. There is an adjustment. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I like Cailtin Clark. I think she's great. I think she's going to be great. All the attention is great. You're starting to see a little bit of jealousy, though, a little bit of backlash. People come out because the Indiana Fever had a chartered plane. Every team in the league doesn't have a chartered plane. And they were one of the teams that had a chartered plane. Some people coming out saying, hey, why do they get one? What have they done? They're the worst team in the league. And I'm like, there's that jealousy. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. But when you're the rock star, and Cailtin Clark right now is the rock star, you get rock star treatment, don't you? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. When you are the rock star, you get rock star treatment until you don't. Until you don't. And just like the rock star, you could get the rock star treatment initially, but if it doesn't pan into anything else, then, you know, all of that goes away. And I've said it from the beginning. She's got a ton of pressure on her. The league is dependent on her to be great. I don't know why more people didn't just come out and say, hey, she can be great, but it's going to take some time. The only person who said that was Taurasi, and everybody tried to rip her head off for actually telling the truth. And yet everybody said she was a hater and she didn't like her and she was jealous. Why does Diane Taurasi have to be jealous of anything of Cailtin Clark? Well, I mean, like, why? There's nothing that she has that Diana Taurasi is known as one of the top 5 greatest women basketball players ever. Cailtin Clark will be lucky to be in that same conversation. So why does she have to be jealous of her? I don't know. It is what it is. So it is what it is. Somebody's saying they better give Cailtin the Michael Jordan treatment and let her win so the league can thrive. That's not a horrible point. That's not a horrible point. You know, but they didn't let Jordan win. Not at the beginning. They didn't let him win. I mean, the Bulls were terrible. His first year, they sucked. The second year, they made the playoffs, but what did he miss? Like 60-something games because he broke his ankle? So, they were bad. They were bad. So you got to give Jordan more credit, but I do understand your point. They got to start winning some games, but their team's not any good. So, but people are coming to watch. They're coming to watch. Not only are they coming to watch, this is a great point. If you're on YouTube and you can check it out here, I'm going to read this quote. One of the great things about the attention Cailtin Clark is bringing to the WNBA is folks are getting to see some of the incredible ballers they have been in the league for years. Asia Wilson, 7 for 17. Yeah, Breanna Stewart last night went for what, 30? That's what it's doing. That's what Cailtin Clark is doing right now. Until she gets her feet under her, everybody's going to see her. Well, now people are actually going to and being able to see some of these other people. That's what the people are going to see. Some of these other professional women that are really good basketball players that nobody was paying attention to. So I like that for the league. I like that for the league. Now she's got to get her feet under her, and she's got to start playing better. So that's what I believe. Good point here by my man Austin. He's saying LeBron was playing all-star basketball as a rookie, and now it's put an unfair expectation on other stars coming up through the years. Yeah. I mean, LeBron wasn't an all-star his rookie year, but he was playing at an all-star level, and now they believe. That's my problem with the NBA in itself, is that in the NBA, they believe if you're 20 years old, number one, if you're 20 and you're not in the league, you're not any good. That's number one. And number two, if you haven't reached your peak potential by 22 years old, you're never going to be any good. You're damaged goods. I just don't understand that. I've never understood that. I mean, you have to be at your peak skills and be playing at the top of your ability by the time you're 22. If you're not in the league by 20, this guy's no good. He can't play. He'll never be able to play in the NBA. That's my whole thing about Bronny James. I don't think Bronny James is a great player. I think he could use another year of college. I absolutely do. But if he comes out, number one, this is the best year to come out because this is the worst draft that I think I've ever heard of in recent memory. Lord have mercy. But he's not ready. He isn't. But it is what it is. He needs to go back to school, but he won't. Okay, fine. But that doesn't mean he'll never be able to play in the NBA because at 19, he's not ready to play. Some people just develop later than others. It happens. It happens. That doesn't mean you're damaged goods, you know? But that's what you see online. People, well, he's never going to be able to do this. He's never, really, nobody gets better. From the time you're 19 to 27 years old, you don't get better at playing basketball? Wow. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it is what it is. I like I said, I enjoy what Cailtin Clark is bringing to the WNBA. It's going to take a minute for her to get her feet wet. And I'm excited when she has that crazy breakout game. When she had, because that 20-point game meant nothing. And everybody that knows something about basketball knows it meant nothing. I'm excited to see what happens when she has that breakout game. Number one, when they win and she has a great performance. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to be doing? So that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about it. And maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe she can't be great. Because how many guys have we, somebody mentioned over in the chat, Jimmy Fredette, Adam Morrison were great college players. We've seen many great college players. Tyler Hansborough is another one that couldn't cut the mustard in the NBA. Maybe she's one for the WNBA. I don't know. I don't believe so. I believe that just by seeing, I think that she'll translate. I just think that it's taking a little bit of time. That's all. It's just taking a little bit of time. And I think she'll be okay. I'll think football's different, though. My man Ex Capone said, Ryan Leaf, football's different. Because in football, you got to stay for 3 years. So your body's a little bit more mature. You know, you're coming into the league 20, 21, 22 years old because you've had to be in college and be in a college weight room, you know, for at least 3 years. So there's a difference. There's a difference. That doesn't mean you can't get better. That doesn't mean you can't get stronger. It doesn't mean that. But hell, even in the NFL, they allow time for guys to get better and show that they can play. In the NBA, they don't. You come in at 19, by 22, if you're not averaging 20 points a game, they're like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just evening Christmas. What? Lord, he hadn't made an all-star. He's 3 years in. He hadn't made an all-star team. We're not sure. We're not sure his game translates. Let's just give it some time. Cailtin Clark will be fine. She will be fine. Let's move on, people. I'm excited about the next topic. Again, as always, Big B Daily, 9 a.m. Central Time. It looks a little dark in my background. I changed the lights up. I don't know if you guys like it or not. Tell me if you can see. But I changed the lights up behind me on YouTube. It looks a little dark. But again, I know what all y'all say. Hey, B, take the damn sunglasses off and it won't be dark. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm keeping the sunglasses on, damn it. I'm keeping them on. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate everybody being here, man. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for showing up as always. So, let's get to this. Best team. Now, we did this not that long ago. It was a few months back, but we're going to go over it again. We're going to do it again. What are the best teams in NFL history? Y'all join along. Let me know if you agree or disagree. So I appreciate y'all's participation. Look at my man Ruben. Said the sunglasses are the reason I was hooked. I appreciate it, man. I like them. Hey, it's sunny inside my house, man. It's sunny in here. I got to wear my sunglasses. It is what it is. But the top 10 teams in NFL history, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. So follow along. Let me know where you guys disagree. And again, we're going to go from bottom to top. So we're going to go from 10 down to 1. So number 10, we got the Denver Broncos, the 1998 Denver Broncos. So that was John Elway's last year. That was Terrell Owens, however you want to pronounce it, however he pronounces it. Not Terrell Owens, Terrell Davis. I apologize. Lord have mercy. What am I doing? Terrell Davis. That was his. He dominated the league. They were 14-2. Unbelievable offense. The defense was ranked 8th in points, so they were pretty good. That's the number 10 team, in my opinion. Number 10 team of all time. John Elway was almost a passenger on that team. And until the Super Bowl, when I think TD had migraines, and then John Elway went out there and threw for like 300 yards and wrecked shop. Wrecked shop. Look at my man, Pat Cockrell. There's only five best NFL teams of all time, and they are the 5 teams for the Dallas Cowboys that won the Super Bowl. Hey, man, I am not mad at you because y'all know me. If I could have just done this list the way I wanted to do the list, there'd only been 6 teams, and that's all 6 Steeler titles. So y'all know me. So I'm not mad at you, my man, Pat. I am not mad at all, brother. Not at all. Moving on. You'll enjoy this. 1992, Dallas Cowboys come in at number 9. So it was their first title. I think this was actually their best team, in my opinion. Of the title teams, I think this was their best one. Troy Aikman, he did his thing. Emmett, he did his thing. That was the thing. Troy Aikman, a lot of people say Troy Aikman, man, why is he in the Hall of Fame? Troy Aikman was crazy accurate. They ran the ball a lot more back in those days. They had Emmitt Smith. And Emmett ran for, what was it, 17? It was over 1,700 yards, 19 touchdowns. So Emmett did his thing. The offense was great. The defense was outstanding. Playmakers everywhere. Y'all remember Jim Jeffcoat and Tony Tolbert playing defensive end for the Cowboys? Unsung because they didn't have like 20 sacks apiece, but they were like 8.5 sacks, I think, both of them. Unsung. Played the run really well and also got after you. But the number 9 team, the 1992 Dallas Cowboys. Now at number 7, number 8. Jeez. Number 8 is the 2007 New England Patriots. Only team that I have on my list that did not win a title. I had to put them on there on this list because, look, they won every game except the last one. And they had the lead with 1.5 minutes to go. They had the lead. Would have been the last team to be undefeated, but they did not. They were not. But that offense was insane. Welker, Brady, Moss, that defense was insane. And they wrecked shop all year long until they got to the Super Bowl. So that 2007 New England Patriots, like I said, they were just incredible. Tom Brady won the MVP. He threw 50 touchdown passes. Nobody could cover Randy Moss. It seemed like every time Randy Moss, he just ran out for a pass, he was catching a touchdown. Lord have mercy. Team was outstanding. And Belichick was in his bag with that defense, too. He was in his bag with that defense. Like he more often than not was. He was in his bag. But they can't be higher. They can't be higher because in the game that they needed, they lost. The game and that offense got shut down, only scored 14 points. But they were crazy. Yeah, that's a good point. Eli Manning were the Patriots' kryptonite. Who would have thought that Eli Manning would have better success against Tom Brady than Peyton Manning? But it's true. It's true. So let's move on. The next team on the list, the number 7 team, 1975 Pittsburgh Steelers. 1975 Pittsburgh Steelers. Steel curtain. The team was actually just dominant. Couldn't score on them. Couldn't do anything. Chuck Noll, they had 11 Pro Bowlers with 6 first-team All-Pros. And let me just say that again. They had 11 Pro Bowlers on this team with 6 first-team All-Pros. Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, and Mel Blount. Mel Blount, one of the more underrated defensive backs of all time, by the way. But that's who was dominating. You just couldn't do nothing with them. You just couldn't do nothing with them. They lost 2 games in the regular season by a total of 16 points. In the playoff, they smacked around the Colts and the Raiders, and then they beat the Cowboys. Sorry, Pat Cockrell, but they beat the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. To me, and before the Patriots' 20-year run, which they went a decade without winning a title, so I'm not sure you could count all of that as a dynasty. Maybe you say it's 2 dynasties, but if you want to say it's 1, okay. But before that, you win 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. With the Chiefs are on the cusp. They're right there. This is one of the greatest dynasties of all time. Not to mention the people and the teams and the players, their impact. I mean, Hall of Famers galore on all those Steeler teams. Hall of Famers galore. I know. I'm a homer. I get it. I understand. But y'all know that I'm not lying. You know I'm not lying. The Steelers were just that good. They were just that good. Let's move on. Number 6. The 1989 San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know a lot of people, look, there might be other teams that are on this list that come in later, but the 1989 San Francisco 49ers have to be on here. This was a back-to-back title year. The year before they won it, but they weren't near as I think they were like 10-6, I think. Yeah, they were 10-6 the year before. In 1989, they were 14-2. They had it going. They absolutely had it going. Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, Ronnie Lott. Hell, Steve Young couldn't even get on the field because Joe Montana was there, who happens to be the greatest quarterback of all time, Joe Montana. Yes, I said it. So, yeah, San Francisco had a lot of teams. That's another dynasty that people overlook. That's another one. If the Steelers were the team of the 70s, and I believe they were, San Francisco was the team of the 80s. I don't even think there's any question about it. I don't think there's even any question about it. So, in 1989, San Francisco 49ers. Some people are saying that we're lagging. Hey, my people, I understand. I'm sorry. I apologize for it. Do yourself a favor. I'm looking at you, the place that is lagging. Click on the screen. If you click on that screen or follow me, click the link in my bio. Come on over. You can click a live link that'll take you to a page that you will not be lagging. So make sure you're doing that. So that's who we got on the list there. Now we're going down to number 5. 5 on the list, 1991, Washington Redskins. Yes, I said Redskins. Look, don't come for me. That was the name of the team at the time, okay? I understand that they have changed their name to Commanders, but back in 1991, it was the Redskins. So don't blame me. Don't be mad at me. I apologize. I'm just calling you what the team's name was at the time. I'm a politically correct guy. I'll go along. But the bottom line is that was what the name of the team is. And this might have been their best team, the 1991 version. Because, again, Washington was another team that was crazy good during the 80s and 90s. They were another team. Because, look, that division, the NFC East at the time, Lord have mercy. You had the Cowboys. You had the Eagles weren't as good. The Eagles were actually really good. They just couldn't put it together and win a Super Bowl. But then you had the Giants. You had 3 teams that were winning Super Bowls left and right. Lord have mercy, that division was good. Crazy good. But but Washington was part of all of that. They were part of all of that. So, very, very good. Very, very good. So, they didn't have a great quarterback. Mark Rippon was the quarterback. But you know what they did have? They had the Hogs. Lord have mercy. Guys, all pros, Hall of Famers that are out there just blocking and dominating. Whew. Whew. Darryl Green was on that team. So Joe Gibbs, an underrated coach. Joe Gibbs. His name never gets brought up when you're talking about the greatest coaches of all time, and I think it needs to. I think Joe Gibbs has got to go right. If he's not in the top 5, he's not 7. He isn't 7. Like I said, if he's not in your top 5, he can't be worse than 6 as an all-time coach. Not in my opinion. I'm sorry. Joe Gibbs doesn't get brought up enough. Doesn't get brought up enough. Wasn't flashy, but doesn't get brought up enough. So, Capone, we're not doing the greatest show on turf. I'm sorry. They don't qualify. They don't qualify, brother. So, they don't qualify. Yeah. He won. No, Wakan. He won a Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks, not 2. He won a Super Bowl with Rippon, how we just mentioned, Doug Williams, and Joe Theismann. How many coaches are doing that? How many coaches are going out and winning 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks? I mean, that ain't happening, I don't think, ever again. I'll be flat out honest. I don't think that's ever happening again. I just don't. I don't believe that. And he was able to do it. Again, in a division where he's playing against the New York Giants, who, in my opinion, has the greatest football player of all time, Lawrence Taylor. Playing against Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers. And then Steve Young, 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And then the Dallas Cowboys, who were winning Super Bowls left and right. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, Joe Gibbs' name doesn't get brought up enough when you're talking about greatest coaches of all time. Doesn't get brought up enough. Moving on. Now, this is where the controversy is going to start. Because some of you guys are going to get on my head about it, but I don't care. Y'all know me. Number 4, 1972 Miami Dolphins. Look, I know. Last team to go undefeated. Okay? I understand that. They had a great defense. But Earl Morra was the quarterback that was at the helm because Bob Greasy was hurt most of the year. You know? That's all I know. Now, granted, they had a good defense. Paul Warfield did his thing. They had Larry Zonka. You know, they were good. And I'm not saying they weren't great. Let me backtrack and not disrespect them and saying they weren't great. You go undefeated, you're great. They scored a ton of points, and they had a crazy good defense. But in my opinion, they just weren't the best ever. They're just not the best ever. I think they're very good. I think they are even great. So, but are they number 1? No. I don't think so. I don't think so. And like I said, Don Shula, again, when you're talking about the top coaches of all time, Don Shula is absolutely in that list. Absolutely tied. I think Don Shula is probably in the top 3 when we're talking list. And we did that. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I like this team. Clearly, I wasn't around to watch them play live, but YouTube does it for you. You know, you can find old clips. They were good. They were aggressive. They had a really good team. Don Shula was that coach. Like I said, Bob Greasy got hurt early. Earl Morra came off the bench. I think he was like an all-pro that year, too. So, either way, I got the Miami Dolphins, the 1972 Miami Dolphins at number 4. Number 3, this is where you guys are really going to lose your mind. 1985 Chicago Bears. 1985 Chicago Bears. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, the 85 Bears are one of the most overrated teams of all time. That's in my opinion. The only reason I say that is because I thought they should have won more titles with what they have. Now, if you just break it down to a season, Yeah, they're one of the greatest teams of all time, which is what we're talking about today. I'm just jaded. I think that's what it is. Because even though I'm a Steelers fan, I got behind the Bears. One of my boys, he is a diehard Bears fan. And I'm like, you know what? I can get behind this. And for them to only win one title, I was like, eh. And I've kind of been like that on them ever since. Yeah. Look, let's just start at the top. Walter Payton, in my opinion, is a top 3 football player of all time. Top 5. And Walter Payton, he was just great. He was just great. They had a great offense. That year, they had a great offense. They scored a ton of points. And the defense goes without saying. The defense just goes without saying. But are they the best team ever when Jim McMahon is your quarterback? I don't think so. I don't think so. That defense was legitimate. Don't get me wrong. It was crazy good. But we did see the defense give up a little bit of very vulnerable. Let's just say that. Against the Miami Dolphins. Y'all remember that Monday night game? I remember. Dan Marino picked them apart, spread them out, and said, cover us. And the Bears couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So, but I don't know. Like I said, I love the Chicago Bears. This 85 team was great. I was behind them at the time. They had the fridge. Lord have mercy, the fridge was so big at the time. Unstoppable. But, hey, great defense, great running game. They scored a ton of points, but only one Super Bowl, and I think that's why I'm jaded. I will say this, if y'all see over on YouTube, the greatest football song, in my opinion, of all time, the Super Bowl Shuffle. Hey, everybody was singing the Super Bowl Shuffle. Everybody. I think I was 9 or 10 years old at the time. Everybody was into the Super Bowl Shuffle. If you're young and you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, do yourself a favor and put the Super Bowl Shuffle. Go whatever you listen to, whatever platform you listen to music, go find it. Go find the Super Bowl Shuffle. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Everybody was singing it. I mean, in school, our teachers were putting it on for us to listen to in elementary school. Kids, we're on the playground. People are dancing. It was the Super Bowl Shuffle, man. It was incredible. So, incredible. So, yeah, if you get a chance, go check out the Super Bowl Shuffle. But the 85 Bears were really good. They were one of the greatest teams of all time. They should have won more, but we can't hold that against them when we're talking about the greatest teams of all time. Do I think they were the greatest? No. Again, Jim McMahon was the quarterback. And as much as we may want to like Jim McMahon, he's your quarterback. You're not leading the greatest team out there just because of his ability. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Let's move on. Number 2, the 1984 San Francisco 49ers. The 1984 San Francisco 49ers. Now, look, when it comes to just sheer, first of all, they won 15 games in a regular season in a 16-game schedule. You know, they won 15 games. Only time they lost to 3 points, of course, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Montana was absolutely incredible. He won the league MVP and the Super Bowl MVP that year. Not to mention, in that Super Bowl, he played against Marino, played good. They had 10 players that made the Pro Bowl. I mean, they were just dominant. They were just a crazy dominant team, man. Like I said, 15-1. They were the first team to do it. They only lost one game by 3 points. The Pittsburgh Steelers spoiled their undefeated party. But it is what it is, man. That 49ers team, that 84 49ers team is the best team they ever had. That is the best team that they ever had. Absolutely insane how good they were. Absolutely insane. So, hey, if it's lagging, man, do yourself a favor. Go and click on my bio and click on the live link. Come on over. You don't have to worry about anything lagging on that side. So, do yourself that favor. And I apologize, but nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. But yeah, 1984, San Francisco 49ers, Joe Cool. Again, y'all know me. I've said it. I've been on here. I'm never going to back down. In my opinion, Joe Montana is the best quarterback of all time. I'm never backing off of that. I'm just not going to do it. Doesn't mean that people like Mahomes can't catch him. Doesn't mean that. But for me, it's Cool Joe. It's Cool Joe. And this was his best team. And this was his best performance. So, number 2 team. But the number 1 team of all time, or as a lot of people say, of all times, the number 1 team out there is the 1978 Pittsburgh Steelers. They are the number 1 team of all time. Now, is it biased? Of course it is. It's my list. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, of course. Now, I try to be objective. I try to be fair. But you just look at the team. I mean, Jiminy Christmas. I mean, there's literally Hall of Famers everywhere, starting with the coach. Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Fame running back, Hall of Fame receiver. Not 1, but 2 Hall of Fame receivers. Then the defense is littered with Hall of Famers, led by Mean Joe Green. The Steel Curtain defense, Jack Lambert, Jack Lamb, Donnie Shell, Mel Blount. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I could go on forever. And this was the best version. 14-2, Super Bowl champs. The Steel Curtain is the greatest team in NFL history. And I don't want to hear no ifs, ands, or buts about it, people. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I know, Brian, you're just being biased. Okay, fine, you win. I'm biased. There. How about that? But I still don't care. You find me a better collection of players on one football team, and we'll have that conversation. But unless you can find me a better collection of players on a team, then I don't want to have that conversation. I just don't. How many teams got 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers on it? How many? I mean, how many teams have a quarterback, a running back, and both your wide receivers in the Hall of Fame on the same team? You could say Dallas Cowboys got close with Aikman, Emmett, and Playmaker, but both wide receivers aren't in the Hall of Fame. Nope. Then you had Mike Webster, who's the center. He's in the Hall of Fame. Rocky Blyer's not in the Hall of Fame, but he was damn good. Then you go over to the defensive side of the ball, and you start talking about that. So my man James says the 76 team was the best ever. I don't know. I like the 78 team. I'm partial. But, I mean, the one thing about it is you've got your pick. That's how great the Steelers were in the 70. You could say, well, maybe 76 team was better than 78. Maybe the 75 team was better. I don't think the 79 team was. But you could say that. I mean, you've got your pick on who you think is the best. So that's all I'm saying. That's what I'll throw out there. That's all I want to know. My man Wakan, Big B, not top 5, but the 1976 Raiders were unbeatable. Well, they weren't unbeatable because they got beaten. Do you know who beat them? I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone. But the Raiders were good back in those days, too. That's another thing. You know how good the Raiders were back then? Lord have mercy, they were good. John Madden coaching, they just couldn't beat the Steelers. That's all. Not their fault. Not their fault. And the Raiders had a plethora of Hall of Famers, too, running around. Just couldn't beat the Steelers. Hey, it happens. It happens. My man, Steelers Almighty. Yeah. You're on to something, Big B. Hey, I just call it like it is, man. I just call it like it is. So, I just call it like it is. But that's my list, man. That is my list. From top to bottom. Number 1, Steelers of 78. 2 is the 84 49ers. 3 is the 85 Bears. 4 is the 72 and undefeated Miami Dolphins. 5, 91 Redskins. Number 6, 89 San Francisco 49ers. 7, 75 Pittsburgh Steelers. 8, 2007 New England Patriots. 9, 92 Dallas Cowboys. And 10, the 98 Denver Broncos. That is my list, and I'm sticking to it for now. We do this again in 3 months. Who knows? It might be different. Who knows? So I appreciate all that. Well, let's get into it, people. Let's move on. Q&A section. Bring on the questions. What do you got? Let's talk about it. My man Daniel Lee brought up a question, and he says, this is off topic-ish. No, it ain't, man. We're all good, Daniel. Why doesn't Roger Craig ever get mentioned in anything? He was the offensive weapon. He was an offensive weapon. He wasn't the only one, but yeah, I don't think Roger Craig gets mentioned enough. I think Roger Craig, first of all, he is, I don't know if he's the godfather of catching the ball out of the backfield. I think that belongs to Lenny Moore of the Colts, but he revolutionized it. He definitely did that. But just sheer running the football, you're not going to say, okay, let's give the ball to Roger Craig 30 times and let him run it. That wasn't his game. And I think that's why he doesn't get brought up enough. I think that's why. Because he wasn't just the bell cow running back that's going to run the ball 30, 35 times, like a lot of people did back in those days. And I think that's why. He definitely caught the ball. He definitely did his thing out of the backfield. But I think that might have something to do with it. I really think that might have something to do with it. But that's a great question, Daniel. That is a great question. So, no one mentions Dick Vermeil. He was so underrated. Was he though? I mean, look, Dick Vermeil had a good run with Philly the first time he was there. They didn't win a title, but they did make the Super Bowl. And then he quit. He quit. Whatever was going on with coaching, it was too much for him, which there's no shame in that. Hell, you don't know what people go through. And what he had to go through the coach, he's like, hey, I need a break. And he took a break. And then he comes back with St. Louis. They do win a Super Bowl, puts together one of the greatest teams, or offensive teams anyway, and you can say one of the greatest teams ever. Then he quit again. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then he comes back to Kansas City, and he puts together a good offense, but he forgets that defense is actually played in the National Football League. And while the Chiefs had one of the greatest offenses in NFL history, and they did, they couldn't stop a nose run. They couldn't stop anything. And they couldn't win a playoff game. So, I don't know. To each his own, I guess, but I like Dick Vermeil, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying when it comes down to it, he's not one of the greatest coaches out there. Good, but he's not in the top 10. He's not in the top 10. Brent Jones was amazing for the 49ers. Yeah. Brent Jones was a crazy good tight end. Crazy good tight end that not enough people talk about, man. Not enough people bring him up. They don't. So, not enough people bring up Brent Jones. and how good he was. You know who does bring up how good he was? Joe Montana and Steve Young. They'll talk about him. They'll talk about him all day long about how good he was. So it was a different time, though, because he wasn't a great blocker. And when he was doing his thing, I don't know. West Coast offense, is the tight end going to be a great blocker? Probably not. More just getting away guy. And he didn't have the most dynamic numbers, but he was damn good. You're right, Joaquin. He was damn good. And not enough people talk about him. Not enough people talk about him. So, what are the questions, man? Bring it up. Bring them up. Did y'all see that Scotty Scheffler got arrested this morning? Let's talk about that. Did y'all see he got arrested going into the PGA this morning? What the hell was that about? One of them, the charges was, he roughed up a cop? So I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, I'm watching it this morning and I'm like, what did he do? And at first, the only thing that came out, they said, hey, there was all this traffic, you know, at the PGA there in Louisville at Valhalla. And they were saying, well, somebody got killed in a car wreck. There was a fatality. And I'm thinking, oh my God, did he kill somebody? Well, no, that's not what happened. I think what happened was he was trying to get there because there was a ton of traffic. He's trying to get there on time. Cops are like, hey, you can't go this way. He's like, hey, I'm a golfer. I need to get in here. They're like, look, you can wait your turn. We'll tell you when you can go. And I think he cut the cop off and went anyway. Now, one of the charges were for, what did it say? Yeah, one of the charges, I saw his booking. I'm like, gee, many Christmas, is he got physical with the cop. Now, the one charge of reckless driving, you know how I'm sure they just threw that on there because he disobeyed the traffic laws, which, okay. But I don't know. I don't think that he, like I said, he didn't have anything to do with that. Because if he would have been or killed anybody, the person who got killed in the accident, if he would have done that, he would not be golfing. He would still be in jail, and he's not. So, and here's what he said. I was proceeding as directed by police officers. It was a very chaotic situation, understandably. So, considering the tragic accident that had occurred earlier, there was a big misunderstanding of what I thought I was being asked to do. I never intended to disregard any of the instructions. I'm hopeful to put this side focus on golf today. Well, I don't know, man. I don't think it gets, if I'm driving and a cop is asking me to do something and then I do the exact opposite of that, the cop usually will bang on your hood if you're trying to go somewhere where you're not supposed to. They'll bang on your hood and tell you to stop. You know, I've done that before. Driving along, you're going in one direction, a cop wants you to go another way, and you say, hey, man, but I got to go left. Don't tell me to go right. And I attempt to go left. The cop bangs on your hood. No, you're going right. You got to go around. Okay, fine. I'll go around. Doesn't sound like that happened. And then it doesn't sound like once they got him stopped, it sounded like he may have got an attitude and the cops weren't having it and said he's going to jail. So that's kind of what it sounds like. So, yeah, here's what I'm just reading this off of ESPN. At one point, an officer attached himself to the side of Scheffler's car. Then Scheffler stopped and turned into the entrance of Valhalla. So it sounds like he just drove on. Yeah, he drove about 20 yards towards the entrance after the police told him to stop. And he didn't stop. And maybe the cop being a little dramatic if you're jumping onto somebody's car. I don't know why you would have done that. I mean, not to mention, he couldn't have been going that fast because why would you jump on somebody's car? I don't know. I'm not a cop. I respect them, but I'm not a cop, so I don't get what they do. I'm never going to be a cop. So I don't get what they do and why they do it, or their reasoning behind it, I should say. But it was interesting. I don't know what's going on with all that. I don't know. My man Big George says the best football song is the movie Wildcat. Yeah, you may be right. You might be right. you absolutely might be right. You know how many first of all, there's a couple of sayings in that movie that are crazy. So there's a couple of sayings that are crazy. My man Austin, sounds to me like the last major at Valhalla for a long time. I don't know why it would be the last major there. Valhalla didn't do anything. I mean, they didn't make Scheffler go the wrong way, not listen to cops. It's not their fault. Now, you might be right, Austin, that it's the last time it goes there, but, I mean, what does the golf course or the city of Louisville have to do with it? They didn't do anything. And look, I'm defending Louisville because I'm from there, but the city of Louisville didn't kill anybody in a car wreck. The city of Louisville didn't make Scott Scheffler not listen to the cops. It's not their fault. You know, it's not the golf course's fault that he didn't listen. It's not, I mean, but again, I don't begrudge you for saying it because I don't know that you're wrong. I'm just saying, what do they have to do with it? Don't punish the city because people wouldn't follow directions. So 20 yards is not far in a car. No, it's not. Is that evading? They didn't charge him with evading, so no. But they did charge him with a felony. And I think the felony is because the cop was on his car and he was moving the car. But my whole thing is, if the cop jumps on his car to try to stop him, what the hell are we doing? Now I can see if he bumped into a cop or ran, he was going towards a cop and the cop had to dive out of the way or something like that. Okay, I get that. But it doesn't sound like that's what happened. So, but I don't know. Again, I wasn't there. I have no idea what happened. So, yeah, the EA Sports for college football just dropped. Let me ask you guys this. I have been out of the video game for, every bit of 15 years. I stopped buying, video games, stopped buying Xbox, PlayStation. I stopped doing all that 15 years ago. I'm out. Now that college football is coming back, and yours truly will be able to be in that game, the 1998 Kansas State Wildcats, I'm assuming. Should I buy it again? And if I should, which console should I get? Now, the one thing to keep in mind before anybody answers, the only game that I'm going to play is college football. I'm not going to buy Madden. The only thing that I'm going to do is play college football. That's it. So that's the only thing I'm going to do. So we'll see what happens. There we go. PS5, says my man Ruben. PS5. Because, again, that's the only thing I'm doing, man. That's the only thing I'm doing. So. Yeah, it'll be weird. This is a good point. The draw of NCAA with the players switching schools every year, maybe for kids in college. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Sadly, EA is really bad, but it's been 10 years. I'm buying the bad boy for nostalgia's take. So EA is a bad company. They put out bad games. Is that what you're saying? I thought EA did John Madden. Do they not do that? And again, I'm out of the video game. So you can make fun of me. You can say, this guy, he doesn't know anything. No, I don't. I have not been involved in that in the last 15 years. I do not play. But like I said, I'm going to get this guy. Although I did hear a rumor that the game was $150 to $300 depending on the version. Now, if that's the case, then I'm out. Not paying no $300 for no video game. The hell is going on? Yeah, I won't be doing that. I can assure you. So Xbox is cheaper. Sounds like Xbox is cheaper, but PS5 is better. Huh. We'll see. EA was good at the Apex, but they fell off. So got comfy. 2K took over. Gotcha. And I'm assuming 2K does not run, or EA Sports doesn't run 2K. Got it. All right. This is good info, man. This is good info. Good info. So an Xbox is only $70. Ooh, now that piques my interest. That piques my interest. The Xbox is only 70, but still, that damn game, if that game is $300, I'm out. I'm out. So I'm just not a gamer like that. I'm not a gamer like that. Even as a kid, we had the video games, but we didn't have, like, first of all, my parents were teachers. So we didn't have the money to go out and buy 100 games. But it just, I don't know. I just never been into that. Never been into that. So Daniel Lee says, if you don't own a console, you may end up paying $700 or more just to play one game. Whoa. Now, if that's the case, I can assure you I'm not doing that. Why? So the console plus the game is going to cost me $700. Yeah, I'll be out. I'll be out. So, yeah, if that's the case, and I'll do the research. Let me ask you this. Can I buy an old PlayStation? Can I buy an old Xbox and use a new game? Or is that just out of the question? I'm assuming it's out of the question. And again, don't make fun of me. I'm not a gamer. But I'm assuming that's just out of the question. Because, yeah, I'll try to get by. But $700, that's too rich for my blood, man. Yeah, no way. Yeah, that's too rich for my blood. That is too rich for my blood. So, can't do it. $700. I will be interested to play. I'll go to somebody's house. Like, you can have me over. I'll go to your house. I'll do that. You know. But if I got to pay $700 for a video game that I'm going to play every now and then and probably never after football season, I don't know. Big George saying that Xbox is $500. Yeah, I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that. If they're all $500, y'all tell me how it is. Y'all tell me how it is. Tell me what I should do. You know, because the thing is, I remember back when I was in college and we used to play with my team, with Kansas State, and it would be me and my buddies, and we would play, and I would be a lineman. You remember, you could play on the same team. I would just be me out there pulling, blocking people, out there knocking people around. That would just be me. And I was okay with that. If you could do it again, I would do it again. So, yeah, the Sega Genesis. Yes. I remember. But yeah, if I got to pay $500 for the console, then another $300 for the game, I will expect you guys just to tell me how it is, because I'm not going to do it. So, yeah. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. For college football, I'm not going to do that. So, there's my man, Pat Cockrell. He's giving us the lowdown. College football is only on a PS5 and Xbox Series XS. I'm assuming the Xbox Series XS is more expensive. I'm just assuming. My man Ryan Krause is breaking down Scheffler, saying that he's charged with second-degree assault on a police officer, and there's the felony, when they pulled his door open and put him on the ground and handcuffed him. I mean, but first of all, we've seen that happen all the time to people. They get charged with assaulting a police officer. Now, that charge usually gets dropped, but we've seen that several times that happens to people. I think the charge comes is apparently if the cop was on his car while he was driving, that's why they're charging him with that. Personally, I think everything is going to get dropped, and they made a point. Hey, man, you're not above the law. Do what we're asking you to do. And then they probably got pissed because he jumps on his car and he was still moving. And then they take him out, put him on the ground, and they arrest him. It is what it is. I don't think there's going to be anything that comes of this. He may have to pay a fine or something like that. I think the felony will get dropped. I think all of that will happen. I think it was a big deal because he was close to missing his tee time, but I don't think anything is going to happen from it. Nor do I think there should. He must really love golf. I mean, he is the number one player in the world. And not only is he the number one player in the world, he has been smoking hot playing as of late. I mean, he has a chance to win the damn tournament. So, yeah, I'm with it. I am definitely with it. I get what he was trying to do. But either way, man, I just don't think anything is going to come of it. I don't believe anything is going to come of it. You know, look, they got him a mug shot. Look at his mug shot. He's a man of thinking, what in the hell is going on here? I'm not drunk. I'm not belligerent. I went the wrong way trying to get to a golf tournament. He probably had a little bit of entitlement and thought, you know what? I'm Scott Scheffler. I can do what I want. I'm going in here. You're going to let me through. And the cops were like, no, you're not going through. Not only are you not going through, you're going to do exactly what we tell you to do. And he didn't think he had to, and then he got arrested for it. So that's kind of what I think. I think everything will get reduced. The felony for 100% is getting reduced. Not charging man with a felony. So it is what it is. All right, people. Good week. Good week, man. I appreciate everybody being here. We're going to shut this one down for the day, but I appreciate everybody showing up and showing out. Goon Squad is live and in effect. We are going to get working on that, so hopefully we can get some shirts and stuff out for you this summer as we're getting busier, so it makes it tougher for us to work on this stuff, but we'll try to get some stuff out and get it all figured out. So I appreciate everybody showing up, man. Thank you guys, as always. Again, like, follow, subscribe. The one thing that really helps my algorithm to get out to more people is when you go back to the video and make comments on the actual video. So please make sure you do that. Please make sure that you do that. Go outside of the chat and make comments on the video. That's what really drives the algorithm, so we can start getting even more people in here on a daily basis. So I appreciate everybody that's in here. I appreciate all your support. Thank you, guys. Love you guys. We will see you next week. Aloha.